All right, so for this game, looks like we have a pretty straight sequencing game. Nothing really especially out of the ordinary. We have just 5 positions to work with and 5 elements to put into those positions. R, S, T, V, W. And yeah, everybody goes just once. This is pretty much as kind of textbook as it gets. So from there, I guess let's take a look at the rules. The first rule says that S has to go before V. So I suppose we can line that up. Next, T has to be either earlier than both R and S or later. Ooh, okay, so let's actually symbolize this one out separately first. So T has to be either earlier than both R and S, or alternatively, T has to be later than both R and S. And I suppose we could arguably link it into this thing over here, right? Because S still has to go before V in both of these scenarios. So we can add on that S is before V, and let's just rewrite this guy over here. We can say that T here is before both R and S is still before V. So that's not too bad. I mean, we're splitting into 2 major boards, it looks like, but yeah, let's keep going. W has to be either earlier than R and T or later than both R and T. So we got a similar kind of rule, except wait. So R and T, in both of these kind of templates, I guess we can call them templates, we have T and R in a straight chain, right? So consider this. This is telling you that W is either before both of them or after both of them. But if it's before both of them, it's just going to go before T, because that's going to be before R anyways. And if it's after both, then it's just going to go after R. So you know what, let's do something like this. We can say the W either is going to go before the T here, or it's going to go after the R there. I'll just use the dotted line to indicate that that's a little bit flexible. And same thing over here, really, right? Because either W is going to go before both, which means before R, or after both, which means after T. So we can do something similar. We can say either W is going to go over here, or I'll just move the line over here. The W is going to go before the R over there. So we have a little bit of flexibility there. But doing it this way does give us kind of that very general look at how the game is going to play out, which is kind of nice. In terms of hard deductions, I don't think we can do much. This setup over here seems a little bit tighter, but even then, the first position, if it's the W before, then it's going to have to be W, but if it's a W after, then T will have to go first. But again, that's at least 2 major plays, and we could have all of this happen as well, and in this scenario, R can go first, S can go first, so it's quite flexible. You know, let's just run with what we have here and see what we can do with the questions. So the questions themselves, number 1, what could be the straight sequence first to last? So first rule, as usual, we go by the rules. S has to go before V. Answer choice, A looks good, B looks good, C is fine, D is not. We have S after V, so we can get rid of D, and E looks good as well. Next, T had to go either before both R and S or after both R and S. So A is already out because basically T is in between, which can't happen. B, we have T after both. That's fine. C, it's before. And E, it's in between again, right? Yeah, it's in between of them, so we can't do answer choice E. Lastly, W is before both R and T or after both R and T. So B has W after everything, so that's fine. C has W between R and T, which again doesn't work. So the best answer to question number 1 is B. And as usual, let's just plug that into the board. We essentially have SRT, followed by, we have V and W. Next, let's take a look at the locals. So question number 2. If S goes fourth, well, let's play this out. If we happen to have S fourth, now no matter what, we know that S is always before V, right? So that would easily lock the V into 5. Beyond that, though, I suppose this is still consistent with both of these templates, right? We could have S4, V5 in either one of these, and we could do T before R and S rather easily. Oh, wait a minute, no, scratch all of that. S is not before T. Obviously, this can't happen, so T looks like it's before both R and S. So we know that in the remaining positions, well, I guess here's what's going to happen. We just have TR and W left, right? So in this template. So either it's going to be WTR or it's going to be TRW. So we only have two major plays here. So in fact, we can kind of just write that down. Either it's going to be WTR or it's going to be TR and W. So from there, the question itself asks what must be true. R is before W, and no, not necessarily. So A is out. Answer choice B, S is before T, and no, that can't happen, so that's certainly out. C, T is before R, and actually, yeah, no matter what, we're going to have a TR block, right? So answer choice C must be true. Just in case, though, let's take a look at D and E. D says V is before W, and no, V is last, so that's not happening. And E, W is before T, and that could happen, but it doesn't have to. W could have gone after T if we're going with that. So once again, the best answer here is answer choice C for number 2. Next, question number 3. If R is the first piece on the CD, so again, let's see what we can do with that information. If we have R in number 1, so first of all, it means that we're definitely not in this template, right? Because we can't make T before R. So we're definitely over here. And as far as this is concerned, W is certainly not before, so W is going to have to go after the T. Except wait, if R is in 1, that just leaves us with these 4 guys, right? Except S is going to have to go before everything, before T, before V, and by extension before W. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have S in number 2, and then we're just left with T, V, and W. And between the 3, V is entirely flexible, but T and W still have their internal relationship, so we can say something like we'll have V/T before W. Let's go. The question asks what could be true. Answer choice A, T2, and nope, that's not happening. B, V3, and yeah, maybe V is flexible, it can go into 3, that seems okay. Just in case though, let's take a look at the rest. W3, and no, because W still has to go after T, we wouldn't be able to manage that in 3. S4, and no, S is already in 2, and T last, no, because T still has to go before W, that's not happening. Best answer for question number 3 is B. Next, question number 4. If T is the second piece, well, again, let's see what we can do with that information. So if T is a number 2, so first of all, we're definitely not playing in this template, right? Because T is not after both R and S. So we're playing in this template, except under this template, T is pretty heavily restricted. It has to go before R, before S, before V. So those guys would have taken up 3, 4, and 5, which means W is the only person that can go before. So W is going to have to go into 1. And as far as 3, 4, 5 are concerned, you're just going to have, again, something similar. R is flexible, and S and V have to go in that relative order. So we're going to have kind of R/S before V. So the question itself now asks, which of the following could be true? A, S is 1, and that's definitely not happening. B, R is 1, also no. Next, V is 3, and no, because for V to go third, it still has to go after S, so that wouldn't have worked. Answer choice D, W4, and no, W is already in 1. E, R is last, and maybe R is entirely flexible. It can kind of move around all these spaces, so best answer here is answer choice E for number 4. Next, number 5 is global. We'll come back to this one in a moment. Number 6. If V is the second piece, well, let's see what we can do. If V is a number 2, what does that tell us? Well, right away, it's certainly not this template, right? Because here V would have had to be after S and T. That wouldn't have worked. So we're definitely in this scenario over here. And that means that S is going to have to go first because S is definitely before V. And as far as the other guys are concerned, what do we have? We have R and T who are going to go in that order, but really, so the W is going to either go before both or after. So it's either going to be WRT or it's going to be RTW. In fact, we can kind of line that up. We can say either we have WRT or RTW. So the question now asks, which of the following could happen? Answer choice A, W1, definitely not. Next, S3, nope, it's already in 1. Next, T3, and no, because no matter what we do, we have to have T after something, after the R at the very least. So that's not happening. Can we do R4? And maybe if we run the WRT, that could have worked. WR in 4T, that would have been okay. Let's hold on to D. Just in case, R last, and no matter what, R has to go before something, so it's not going to go last. Best answer to question number 6 is D. Next, number 7. If W is first, well, I guess let's try this out. If we have W in the first position, well, I suppose that would be entirely consistent with both of these scenarios, isn't it? Because in both cases, we could have had W first before everything. In fact, I'm not really sure what that tells us at all, because if we can play by both templates, and yeah, there's quite a bit of flexibility there, isn't there? Okay, let's see. Maybe we can do this as is. The question asks, what cannot be true? Answer choice A. Could we have T go third? Now, if we're in this template, definitely not, because T has to go before everything that's left. So T is definitely not going to be third. Oh, but also not in this template, because here T has to go after R and S. There's no way to fit T3 with both of them prior. That's convenient. So answer choice A cannot be true, which is the best answer for question number 7. Just in case, though, let's take a look at the rest. For the record, if you have a confirmed answer, you should have just run with this answer. But if you really wanted to kind of be sure, answer choice B, V3. Could we do V in 3? And maybe, because in this template, you could have had S2 V3, and then R and T can go 4, 5. That wouldn't have been an issue. Answer choice C, can you do S4? And maybe in this template, S4 V5, there's no other further restrictions on them, so that would have been okay. Answer choice D, V4, could we do that? And maybe in this template, we could have had V4, S3, and then R and T would just go 2 and 5 respectively. That's actually entirely fine. So that could have happened. Answer choice E, T last. And again, in this template, that could have happened because T could have stretched into number 5. R and S would have gone prior. As long as V is after S, we're still good. So once again, the best answer here would have been A. Lastly, question number 5, the first and second pieces could be what? I guess let's go. Answer choice A, could we have RV in numbers 1 and 2? Now, we haven't seen that yet, but let's see, is there anything wrong with doing RV in 1 and, oh yeah, that's not going to happen, because if you did R and V in 1 and 2, well, S always has to go before V no matter what, right? So there's no way to do that. So answer choice A is out. Can we do RW in 1 and 2? And again, we haven't seen that yet. Is there anything wrong with that? And yes, definitely, because, I mean, in this scenario, obviously R is after T, so that's not going to fly. But in this scenario, the W has to go either before both or after both. There's no way to do R and W immediately thereafter because the W can't go in between them. Answer choice C, can you do ST in 1 and 2? And no, because if S is in 1, we're playing by this set of rules. But if we do ST, there's no way to put the R behind the T, so that wouldn't have worked. Answer choice D, can we do TW in 1 and 2? And again, haven't seen that yet. But no, it's the same issue as what we had with RW. If you do TW in 1 and 2, then either way you go, you're going to end up with the W in between the R and T, and that wouldn't have worked. Answer choice E, WS, could we do WS in 1 and 2? And I guess we haven't seen that, but we could have actually had the opportunity here. The thing is, for this template, there's nothing wrong with putting W first. It would go before RT, and then S could go second because there's nothing that has to go before the S. That would have been entirely okay. So the best answer to question number 5 is E.